Well, yeah, I just forgive me, guys. I don't know what it is about internet connections these days. And Brian, you told me you were the one that didn't have a good internet connection. Well, I have a good internet connection, and that was me. I guarantee it.
He
Basically,
says he claims it.
I claim it. As much money as I pay for this internet connection, I don't want that ever to happen again. Somebody's gonna hear my mouth.
I'm the best bracket racer ever lived, but I hadn't won a race yet this year.
Well, I guess that's touche. Touche. Yeah, Cody, man, I'm glad. Thanks for mentioning something in the chat there. I can at least see that we are live, back in effect here. And I'm going to tell you what, we're going to hit a quick rewind. I think everybody pretty much got a good introduction to Mr. Brian Garrett there. But Brian, you were showing an item, and I think it was a bracket to mount the MSD box or the wiring panel or something of that nature. Can you show that item again? Maybe we can get our guys another look at that.
Yes, sir. There it is. I make them for whatever pipe tube size diameter you need, and it comes with the filter flathead screw in the front, so you can mount to the panel, and then you can clamp it from the back. And if you need be, I can switch this so all the fasteners are in the front. These come in handy. I've mounted several race cars now. There's a car that I worked on this past December. It's running 550s. It's a Roadster, and it has these parts in it. And it's the MSD and everything's mounted to this. It's actually got a grid, but I mounted it on a panel.
Nice. And if I thought I heard you correctly, Daddy Dave and some other street outlaws run your products already, huh?
Yes, sir, they do. I make a CO2 regulator. I'm still old school. My car shifts by CO2, and I have a starting line enhancer. And it never fails. When I realize my bottle's empty, it's like right before they call, get in the car, you look over and you're, man. And then you got to go, I never remember what size wrench to use on the regulator. So I got rid of all that. Everything's hand now. I can unscrew my regulator by hand. I make a regulator knob. That's in Monza's car right now. The one you see on Street Outlaws, it's in his car. It's in my junk. Then I also make clamps to clamp the CO2 bottle to the roll cage. And those are with thumb screws, so you can take them off and move your bottle in and out and not have to have any other wrenches. I did all that because, just like I said, now I can do that and grab another bottle. Before, it's like 6 trips back and forth, right? Well, I think this is the wrench. Daggone it. And, you're doing this in a mad rush, right?
Right.
Because it's never like you get up in the morning and go, hey, you know what? I'm going to check my CO2 bottle today. You don't do that.
Right. And here's the thing that we need to let the viewers know also is that it's not just what you make currently. You can legitimately make whatever they want. The best part about this CAD software and 3D printing and anything in general is the fact that if someone either sends you a part or gives you an idea or gives you dimensions, you can make that for them, whatever they want.
That is correct. The only current limitations we have are the size of the printers. I've got an 8 by 8.3 by 8.3 cube and 9 inches tall. So I think you guys call it an ECM on the, like you guys with the LSs, you run the ECM. I'm currently wiring up a 78 Malibu that has a 6.0 LS in it and the Holly Dominator, high riser and stuff. I made mounts to clamp the ECM to the inside of the firewall. You give me some dimensions and I can pretty much make what you want as long as it fits within those size limitations.
And that's a great example of what's going to be happening in the future is that the LS1 or the LS motor, I guess, the LS series motor is the small block Chevy of now. And those things go in everything. They're in Mustangs. They're in, every single GM product you can ever imagine. I've heard they put them in Mopars, but I got a buddy that says you go to hell for that. So I don't.
I mean, when it gets right down to it, I'm a Mopar guy, right? I got a 68, but my engine's got about as much Mopar in it as, I mean, the block's aluminum from Indy. The heads are aluminum from Indy. The crank's from Bryant out in California. There's no Mopar in it. The only Mopar that's still left in the car is the heavy Dana 60. You know, it's got a power, you know, or as I call it, a two-speed Mopar transmission. But it's basic. I mean, it's really, you know, what I'm getting at is all this is just metal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. As long as you're racing and you're enjoying it, that's what I'm about, you know. And I want to, if I can help somebody, you know, do better, I'm happy for it. You know, this helps me get to go racing without, you know, getting my wife on me.
That is a good thing. That is a good thing for sure.
So yeah, no, what I got here right now, guys, coming up next here is going to be just an understanding of how you can get a hold of them, and I'm just going to bring up that website, and then we'll cut back to Brian and maybe ask him another couple of questions here in just a second. But real quick, I'm going to pull up the website for you guys to have a look at, and make sure you can hear me okay, as I know you can. I see my meter jumping up and down there, but this is the website that you guys could go to and kind of get you know, a little bit more information on what's going on here. 3D printed racing products. If you scroll down and you hit shop now, you'll be able to start shopping, and you'll be able to see some of these products. And I'm going to tell you, this is very, very, very. It's like a high density plastic, is it, Brian?
Yes, sir, it is. It's actually PETG is the material, and then I use an infill because when you 3D print, it's not a solid piece that you're printing, so it's an infill. And I use a percentage of infill and a pattern specifically designed for strength. It's called a gyroid. MIT did a study on it and found it to be the most strongest 3D infill in the world. And it's actually found in a butterfly wing. It's kind of crazy, but if you can imagine, it's a sphere that's twisted as it grows up. Kind of looks like a helix. So it's really strong, and you don't have to have a lot of infill. That's why my parts are light and strong, you know. Like, for example, the helmet hook, you know, I got this in my race car right now. I hang my helmet from it, and I've towed my car from Elwood, Indiana to Michigan to Indianapolis to Kentucky, Tennessee, right there. It's never, I love this stuff.
Oh yeah, no. As you guys are seeing here, I mean, he's got a pretty good listing of items here. And as Casey just mentioned moments ago, if you don't see it on this webpage, I'll bet you there's a way to get a hold of Brian to where he can make you just about whatever you want with some dimensions. I'm extremely impressed with this trans brake, this thumb stop. The fast disconnect. Look at that, Mega 45, 475, 450, and 475. Look at that. That's a fast disconnect box. We've been talking about that all day. Look, now I'm gonna bring Brian back in. He's got one of those buttons in his hand right now. You slide it back in there.
There's a thumb stop for the 00 by Honda O. Then I have the thumb stop for the large button. You know, I also make them for, this is what's in my car currently. I so, you know, or I think there's another brand that makes this as well. And what's really nice about these is if you're like me and you have your trans brake button mounted on your steering and you're driving through the pits and you bump your button, you can destroy a high dollar transmission. $20, in my opinion, with free shipping, is definitely good insurance to keep you from bumping that tranny brake button and something bad to happen to a transmission that costs $5,000.
Yeah.
And that's something I never even thought about, actually, was just the simple fact of, you know, just turning the steering wheel. Every weekend that I've been to the racetrack, almost every single weekend, you hear somebody screech the tires because they're turning into their pit area or leaving their pit area, and it's because they hit that trans brake button on accident when they were turning the steering wheel. It almost always happens in door cars, and that is something I never actually thought about with that. I always thought of it more as keeping your thumb in the right placement, but there is definitely a secondary function for that as well, just for safety aspect.
Absolutely, because as you can see, that's about a half-inch tall. So it prevents you from, you have to stick your thumb in there to push the button.
So definitely, guys, hopefully we've brought you guys a good understanding of exactly what BRG can do for you. I don't know if anybody else out there making parts like this, honestly. I mean, I know I've seen a thumb stock, but definitely not to this grade, in my opinion. Not to take anything away from what's already out there, of course, but here's yet another resource for us to utilize as drag racers. I know my old man's looking at some things to put on the dragster, especially those seatbelt magnets. The magnets basically that grab hold. I don't know if you guys are like me. Look at that there. I don't know if you're like me, but when I come out of the car, I take my seatbelts off and put them somewhere so that when I get back in the car, I don't got to go fishing for them. I've got one buckle down here already done, and I can't find the other one. Now I got to turn around and try to find it or unbuckle myself. Well, BRG makes a magnet to where when you take them off, you just stick your belts off to the side or wherever you want to, and they stay there. They can't move. It's a magnet, so it's going to hold them. Swag, guys. That's just accessories for your race cars. What I believe we should just look at it as that. This is just an accessory to make things more convenient.
And save your powder coat and save your paint, because we've all seen those door cars that get all busted up down here on that down bar. And my Malibu's terrible about that, because I got to fish for him behind the seat. I'll be up there in stage lanes getting ready to throw them on. You get to about 4th round, 5th round, you're kind of in a hurry. And trying to fish behind your back to get your seat belts is just one more pain that you don't need to think about, We got Alan Boykin over here saying, nice looking product. What else he say here? He'll be contacting you. So he's building a brand new Mustang over there. One of these days it'll be finished. He's got 2 of them, but he says he's definitely getting ready to contact BRG about some parts for sure.
Hey, I got a question over here on the Facebook side of things, and I'm pretty sure the answer to this, Cody Newman, is going to be yes. Brian, do you ship to Canada?
I've shipped to Canada. I mean, that's a great question. The thing that's so impressive for me, and I'm trying not to get emotional, is, I'm just an old hillbilly in the woods, likes drag racing. And unfortunately, I like Mopars, and I'm stupid for spending money on them. But with that said, I've been able to ship. I've shipped to Hawaii, Alaska, Canada, Sweden, Australia. I don't mind shipping anywhere. I will say when I have to ship to places like Canada or abroad, outside the United States, I don't cover that shipping because it is costly. Yes. If it's continental United States, man, I ship it for free. Because, truthfully, I'm just trying to make money to keep my junk going down the track. I'm not trying to make $1 million and be some, 3D parts printed guru here. I just want to make money so I can keep racing and hopefully help other racers get what they need, Not to interject, but like a lot of you guys out there that are bottom bulb racers run these kind of buttons, the long throw buttons. And what's really difficult is, first of all, they have the mounting holes in the sides, right? So it's always real difficult to find some way to mount this and it be solid. I saw a guy one day, before I even go into my mount, we're at the track and he comes up to me and he goes, man, I'm always, my reaction's all over the board. And I look at him and he's pushing his button and his button's moving like 5 degrees, man. It's not solid. I'm like, dude, I'm not, Mr. Know-it-all or anything, but that's the key. So I make this piece, and this is actually for an Apex, and it's got teeth inside it that you can't really see on the camera. And then I've got teeth inside this piece that you can see right here. And so this goes in here like this, and then you mount your button to the side of it. Now here's what's cool. I can move that button wherever I want and clamp it to a bar. Now you've got a nice solid mount. Nice. And the race that George and I was at 2 weeks ago, on Sunday, the semifinalist and the runner-up had my button mounts in their cars. And they could not stand up. And if you go to my website, you'll see their testimonials.
Awesome.
That's just something else.
Right, and that's a great idea too, because I mean, you can even notice that just by playing with your practice tree. Just try standing up. Try standing up in your garage, hitting your practice tree, or in your house or whatever, and just hold it in your hand. And you'll notice if you do that versus maybe put your hand on a solid surface, put your hand on a table, put your hand on, I actually put my hand on a two-wheel dolly because it's about the right height, and then hit it then, and I guarantee you'll be more consistent, even just because of the fact that your button's in the same place all the time. Bracket racing's all about consistency. We all know that. And more than anything, what's better for consistency than doing the exact same thing every single time?
True.
Having a button mount, have it in the same spot every time. Like, you don't go up there and hold your button with your finger and throw it in the side of the car and leave, and there's a reason for that.
True. You definitely want to be repetitive. That's the name of bracket racing. From your finger or your whatever you leave, you can leave with your toe, all I care. If you're going to be able to repeat, that's what we're after. We're after repetitive cars. We're after repetitive everything. So certainly, can't say enough about BRG. Brian, you're making a heck of a product there, and we're going to do what we can here at Going Bracket Racing to continue to circulate that product throughout not just the bracket racing field, but the field of racing in general. I could bet you that some NASCAR or some stock car or some other types of, especially that helmet hook. I don't want to go fish. Number one, I don't want my helmet getting all banged up. I love my helmet. I try to take as good care of it as I can. Number two, I don't want to have to get all the way belted in, tightened up, and have to do this. I can't reach. Babe, get my helmet. I can't reach it.
George, it goes for more than that, though. My car, in both of my cars, the foot box of the passenger side is where all my electronics are. My MSD, my all my relay panels, my whatever you want to call it for the two-step, all that stuff like that. All those important electronics that run your entire car, all your wiring, all down there. That's what my helmet will roll into every once in a while, and that's bad. That's the thing that's worth more than your helmet is those electronics. They're expensive.
It's a matter of fact. And look, guys, it was easy mountain. I'm going to be honest with you. I put it in there. I didn't think it was going to fit at first, and then it turned and contorted and moved. And it was the most flexible thing I've ever seen until I tightened down the actual screw on it. And it was just like, boom, solid as rock. Can't move it. Try to move it if you want to. And I bet you I could do a chin-up off one of the things if I wanted to. All 200 pounds. 200. I said 200. I'm a little bit more than 200. 230.
Don't be tired, George.
230 pounds. I can do a pull-up on that thing. I swear. So definitely. Brian, how can they find you? And basically what's going to happen here next is we're going to give some contact info. We're going to utilize the Going Bracket Racing community section. If you guys haven't been in there, it's definitely a place where you can post some things, maybe ask some questions. Maybe somebody will swoop in there and give you an answer to it, okay? But we're definitely going to have all the links and maybe even some photos of product inside of the Going Bracket Racing community tab there. But Brian, how can anybody get a hold of you? I have linked your Facebook page into this particular stream as well.
Great. I have a Facebook page. It's BRG Motorsports 3DM. If you go to Facebook, // that'll take you there. And then there's BRG Motorsports 3D printed race car parts on the web. The Facebook page will link you there. You can go to Google and just simply Google BRG Motorsports 3D, hit enter, and it'll bring up both pages. It'll bring up my Facebook page and my other, my website. Both of those, you can contact me via instant messenger on Facebook. You have access to my cell phone if you want to text me. Now that we're in the racing season, I may not, if it's a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it may not be really quickly that I get back with you, but I try to get back with people as quickly as possible because, I get it. Guys are trying to build cars. If I may tell a quick story, I bracket race. I really don't watch professional racing. I really don't. I guess I'm just a weirdo. But so one Sunday afternoon, I get a phone call, and it's Brandon Snyder. Now, who Brandon Snyder is to us is he's a badass pro mod racer. Pardon my language. He's number 2, and he was number 2 in points. He calls me, and he just bought a brand new Tim McAmis race car, and now the NHRA says, well, you have to shift your car manually. So he wants a lightweight shift light mount bracket. So I made him one for his car. It weighed 1.9 ounces. That's now in his car right now. And, you know, again, that's somebody calling me. I hadn't made that. I didn't even think about making that, you know. And we make it. I make a tack mount so you can mount it on your A-pillar and have it nicely mounted instead of having it, you know, trying to with one of those pipe clamps around your steering column. You know, you can mount it on the A-pillar. Again, I'm sorry for interjecting that, but you know, it's just giving my flex.
Yeah, that's the reason we have you on here, is for things like that, and that just goes to prove, like we were saying earlier, that you can make anything that someone comes up with. If somebody has an idea in their head, as long as they can explain it to you and give you an idea of what they want, you can make that for them and make it happen. And the thing that we also forgot to mention on here is anything that is made of a plastic polymer type material that clamps on powder coat isn't going to gall up your powder coat like steel would or aluminum or any type of metal. So your car is still going to look brand new if you decide you want to move that part somewhere else. If you don't like where your shift light is, you can move it over here, and you'll never know it was in the previous spot. It's not going to destroy your powder coat that you paid a ton of money for, that the only way to fix is to strip your entire car back down to nothing and fix it.
Powder coat it again. No, and myself, getting out of the truck, my seatbelts literally fell into the door, to where if I close my door, my seatbelt in the door is going to scratch up the side of my truck. I've done it twice, pissed me off twice. Pardon my language. Okay, that ain't happening again. Okay, I'm not doing that again. So guys, there's definitely definitely a lot of things you guys would like to get your hands on. I say it because I'm watching my dad and my uncle and my cousins and everyone else is starting to get their hands on it. And so certainly use the community section. And before we get ready to go into the next segment of Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, Brian, you got any closing remarks?
Just, you know, I invented, or not invented, I mean, everybody and their brother is smart enough to come up with this, but I made the seatbelt magnets because I have a funny car cage in my car. And like probably everybody out